The most intriguing part of mapping The Godfather to Sarkar is Indianizing and localizing. For example, the scene shifts from New York to Mumbai, and then you actually have a Marathi household, Subhash Nagre, Shankar Nagre, and so on. So, how do you infuse the personality and the psyche of?
See, that was quite simple because I always saw, the closest comparison I felt in a real life scenario was Bal Thackeray. Because I was living in Bombay at that time.
Right.
So I could see the parallels immediately, the way he holds court, the way he solves people's problems and X and Y. That's a direct connection, with the difference that Bala Sahib is not a criminal. So he's a political guy, but he's got all the traits of Godfather.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so how did you blend the personality of the Godfather, with Bal Sahib Thackeray and brought it into Sarkar of Amitabh Bachchan?
See, to start with, I'm not very sure. I don't see. There is no comparison on a personality trait of Bala Sahib Thackeray and Amitabh Bachchan. Of course not.
I'm talking about the
Definitely not.
mannerisms.
Even mannerisms. There's no connection at all.
But I heard.
See, like, in the very initial stages, Mr. Bachchan and me, when we were talking, he had certain ideas. I said, first of all, this is not a film on Bala Sahib. It's inspired. It's not a biopic of Bala Sahib Thackeray. What I wanted is, in fact, we had in the very beginning when I was shooting the scene with Rashid, when he comes.
Zakir Hussain.
Yeah, and he says, मुझे जो सही लगता है मैं वही करता हूँ, blah blah blah. He said, Mr. Bachchan said, Ramu, why is he talking so much to him? He already knows he's a bad guy. Why is he talking so much to him? So I said, sir, you're talking so much because people like to listen to you, I said. That's about the only explanation I give.
Right, right.
So because people love scenes, they love dialogue, especially when a man like Mr. Bachchan says it.
Right.
So to answer the question, anything, I really thought it was a straight comparison of Godfather. And I also believe there are quite a lot of things, the positive and negative. I think Saddam Hussein also was like Godfather, for example. Yeah.
Right. But I actually watched one of the interviews of Bal Thackeray back then, and he said Sarkar actually got the traits of his private life, like the way he holds the cup, the saucer.
It is possible. It is possible. I mean, see, there could be, because Mr. Bachchan has spent more time with Bala Sahib than me. It is possible Mr. Bachchan has done something even I am not aware of.
But there was no brief to him by you?
No, not at all.
So when you first narrated the story to Amit ji, what was your pitch? How did you introduce this to him?
See, I actually, the first time I only narrated one scene of Rashid to him. He was very, very impressed with that only. And more or less it follows the trajectory of Godfather. There is nothing really new to say in the story aspect.
Right.
Maybe my characters were different, the scenes were different, but I would say more or less this is my version of Godfather, I said.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But as someone who followed you from your journey from Siva to Raktacharitra and so on, I found Gayam to be a much more faithful adaptation of The Godfather.
Possible, yeah. Faithful, yeah, maybe. On a story level, I would say, yeah.
Right. And was Gayam more like a dry run before you made it on a bigger canvas with Amitabh Bachchan?
I wouldn't say that. It at least was not my intention, in the contest. For me, Sarkar, because see, any time you make, any filmmaker for that matter, when you make a film, that present state of mind at that time is which... for me, the central scene for the entire Sarkar movie is Amitabh Bachchan and Rashid's scene.
Right.
Without that scene, I wouldn't have made that film only. Yeah. But that scene is not there in Gayam, for example.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, coming to the characterization of Shankar Nagre, Abhishek Bachchan's role, it's actually not as complex as Michael's role in The Godfather. He is very straightforward. He comes from US with his girlfriend. He watches it from a distance and eventually takes over. But he is not as manipulative as Michael. So, what went into your writing and thinking when you actually shaped this?
See, I feel, I felt at that time in terms of, I wanted him to look like a hero right from the beginning. Whether that should be done or not, I don't want to argue about that, you know. Even when he's after he drops Katrina, he sends off, and the way he just does it to the shirt and walks forward, you know, you already feel he's a don.
Right.
I didn't clearly see, even when he defends his father, in the way he says it is very different from how Michael Corleone says. Michael Corleone, when he talks to Kay Adams, and he says, but that's not me. You know,
It's my family.
it's
not
my
me.
family. Here, he says, my father does a lot of good things, and a lot of people have different perspectives. But
Right.
at his heart, he means good to all of them. No?
Right.
So he is not looking at Sarkar like a criminal, unlike Michael Corleone.
Right. Right.
Because Sarkar is not mafia.
Right.
Yeah.
But his personality and his character profile is not as complicated or as manipulative as Michael's. For example,
But that is what I'm saying. Because the way he dealt with also,
Right.
except for the last part of it,
right.
most of the time he's on the defensive after the attack of on his father. He's actually running away from the
Right.
villains. He looks vulnerable. He looks, like lost when he goes to meet Silver Money and all that. I think that's a very different sequences coming from Godfather.